I'm having some trouble with YouTube, but I think I'm going to just send the bot there later.
Ah.
All right. So, this past Thursday was really the first opportunity I got in order to play a new TCG. And that TCG was Disney's Lorcana.
Oh, yeah.
So, I bought the cards maybe about I think it's been more than a month because I was able to get cards from the first three series from it. And, it doesn't bother, people who are Disney fans, if they're just collecting stuff. Because I understand, there's actually an enormous trading card culture at the actual Disney parks.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about
By the way,
that?
did you know that the alligators over in Disney parks are actually more aggressive than usual alligators?
Well, yeah, because I can imagine people are probably agitating them a lot and throwing a lot of junk food in the water.
Yeah.
So, in my original hometown of El Paso, Texas, they used to keep alligators um, somewhat free roaming inside of the Central Park.
Oh, is
And
that right?
yeah, well, eventually they stopped doing that for the simple reason that the visitors were being especially mean to the alligators.
Yeah, that's practically like asking to get your kid turned into beef jerky.
Get your clock cleaned or your clock eaten. Going full circle and then putting this all the way back to Peter Pan.
The circle of life.
Never smile at a crocodile.
Yeah, but in this case, the circle would very much be like, more circular snout, which indicates that it is an alligator.
hmm So, what's the difference
Yeah.
between an alligator and a crocodile? The difference,
Alligators have a round, blunt end, and crocodiles have a sharp, pointy end.
really, because, I personally thought it was a matter of whether you were going to see them later or after a while.
Ah,
Dad jokes!
complete jokes.
Dad jokes! Alright, let's go ahead and let's play the song.
All right, let's get to it.
Meow.
This fearless caddis is the raddest, has skills of the baddest. Magic, slinging fuzzy guns. The status, practically unmatched. Runs all of the gamut. In fact, he's a reference. Games enchanting, bent wizardly hatting, questing, stacking, napping. This cat diversified. Witty banter, seeking kitty answers. Roll 20 to scamper. Tune in and enjoy the ride. Brady, the RPG cat. Brady, the RPG cat.
So, what's your favorite Disney thing?
My favorite Disney thing?
Yeah, your favorite Disney anything.
Well, given how I pretty much centralized my entire theme, it's got to be their animated Alice in Wonderland.
hmm Yeah, and I really enjoy that one too. I think it's one of the better adaptations.
Yep, certainly better than the other adaptations we're getting nowadays.
Well, yeah, because everything gets a little bit darker and moodier.
But with Alice in Wonderland, you don't really even have to. I
I
mean,
hate,
it's essentially
yeah,
like girl goes crazy, like, and completely imagining everything, and everyone thinks she's crazy. The end. You
Mhm.
basically do whatever you want with it.
It's cerebral. It is a literature of the mind. And
Yep, that's
also,
why there's plenty of different takes on it, like, the more live action outlets, Disney and American McGee, all sorts of things like that.
well, I guess you just gotta try to put your own stamp on things,
Yep, it's
which
your
is,
own different kind of flair.
which is also kind of what we do here. So,
Yep, we make it just different enough to where we're like, yeah, this is totally original.
hmm I mean, so I've
Totally
always
original.
been a big fan of Uncle Scrooge comics and Ducktales, and I think you can see where I actually put my stamp on things when it comes to when it comes to those.
Ah, yeah, I see.
hmm All right. So anyway, hello out there, cats and kittens, felines and felidae, humans and variant humans, and every race, class, and subclass. Welcome to another episode of Brainy the RPG Cat. Tonight we are once again doing the writing the RPG, and we're doing the second part of our coverage of the Halcavalon Kingdom, which is a module that is being spearheaded by
By none other than yours truly,
mhm,
me, Chube.
yeah, Cube at Shy Bunny Servant on Twitter,
Yep,
etc.
also known as Mimi the Bunny.
hmm So the last time that we were working on this, started to put everything into a broad outline, and the significant section of the outline that we hadn't had written yet was just the more continuity section of it. But in the intervening week, QB has actually done a significant amount of writing in that section. So right now at the start of the stream, if you would like to take us through it.
Yep, and doing my best.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, yeah, we what I did was make this kingdom-wide emergency warning. Like all sorts of different kinds of emergency broadcast. That's high fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
You
I mean,
gotta
so
put it up here as like the opening to this thing.
I mean, you're not like using transponder snails, are you?
What?
Transponder snails is that snails that carry radio signals, which is what they typically use in
No, they're all
the
just
anime
like
One Piece.
but yeah, no, they're all just like a bunch of pieces of paper and also like a very tired or like a horse riding mailman.
Mm-hmm. It's just a very, very stressed out town crier
Yeah,
shouting
I
the
mean, hell, imagine with
homunculi.
this mailman, they have to go out to deliver these things, like to deliver the very warning that hey, you might die if you go outside.
Mm-hmm. The homunculi are coming. The homunculi are coming.
Ah, classic.
Light the lamp by the main sail. One if by land, two if by sea.
Except like there is no sea. Like the entire place is like volcanic rock and magma,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I also included some things about airships in the man-made magic,
Mm-hmm.
which is their solution to not really being able to use ships on water. They'll use them on land. But I mean on air.
Yeah. So there's absolutely like no gigantic oceans in this realm.
Yeah. Plus, like if you even if you tried to put a boat it's probably not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if the ship isn't gonna get melted the second it goes in, and there's still all sorts of different things that can happen on seas of magma that could happen in. Can you imagine just like a lava tsunami?
Oh wow. Well,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
So that's why airships.
we're up against a lot more than I had originally believed.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Uh-huh. As we're running the risk of tidal waves of lava to just one great big volcano in the center, which is what you have in the Baron's Wasteland, which is the other realm you created.
Yep.
All
Quite a
right.
few different kinds of volcanic events and that sorts of things.
Mm.
And anywho,
Yeah, if you will
there's
just
some more yeah.
if you'd be so kind to
Added
take me
another
through, yeah, the very first thing that you had previously added to the document.
the very first thing I added. And so I had a little like NPC,
Mhm.
like one that the players are the first to meet. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're just named Healer,
Hmm.
or, like because nobody really knows their name, so they just go by Healer because that's what they do.
I
They
mean,
heal.
that is to say that they introduced themselves to the party as healer. They have a different
Yeah,
identity, but we are not going to reveal that identity because there would be spoilers
yeah, we're not
involved.
gonna let that. Yeah, we're not gonna let them know that.
Hmm. Okay.
And yeah, everyone thinks she's pretty strange, and she she always talks in like riddles and rhymes. Like everything she says is bound to like have some sort of a matching end word to it.
Hmm. Well, it'll be a bit of a trick in order to play for the DM to play the NPC, but
Yeah, but that's part of the fun.
these are the hazards that we encounter. And something that will be pretty delightful, whenever we actually get an opportunity to roleplay this.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the first story paragraph in Chapter 1. The party will enter a town where it's rumored that a monster lives in the clock tower. They'll be persuaded by a mysterious cat person that simply goes by Healer to go and check out the clock tower, where she says that a friend of her son's is in, and she doesn't like the fact that there are Halcavalon militant forces there. Halcavalon, that's the name of the residence.
Yeah, of
Ar-
like residents, like Halcavalons.
mhm. Around the inside, the clock tower would have several Halcavalons there, hoping to capture the quote-unquote monster. The players would get past the Halcavalons guarding the clock tower by multiple possible means, leading to a climb to get to the top of the clock tower, driving out the Halcavalons in the process. In certain instances, they would experience various instances of solstice within the clock tower. So we had already established that solstice is an NPC, just a semi-omniscient guiding force throughout the entirety of this story.
Yeah, pretty much like doing all this stuff like through Maxie.
Mhm. Which would start to prove that a monster living in the clock tower is a mere rumor. Such occasional solstice sightings would include him using his arms to break through wood, corpses disappearing, taking down his own share of Halcavalons, using methods such as swift decapitation, bisection, eating live victims, grabbing a Halcavalon. The party was fighting in the face, resulting in instant death due to his claws going into the right eye sockets and quickly dragged out of sight. Once they reach the top of the clock tower to get rid of the remaining Halcavalons, they'll meet Maxie, who will emerge from a hammock made of ribbons in the roof of the clock tower. After gaining Maxie's trust, Healer will thank the players and invite them to the Center of Harmony, a town for refugees of the war to reside, where Healer stays to aid the sick and injured.
Yep, that's just about the gist of like the first conflict.
Absolutely. And so then follow that up by just a side note that the PCs get involved with the conflict with refugees from the lengthy war that has happened so far. And so that's probably the first point that we're going to elaborate on while we're working today. Okay, so in Chapter 2 is introduction to the PCs that are on the other side of the conflict. Most likely, there will be trouble from the Halcavalon since last episode, the PCs thwarted their attempts to capture Maxie. So, this establishes something that I think that we haven't related upon yet between chapters, is that the PCs intervened and attacked a monster in the tower, but they didn't know that the Halcavalons were also using this as an attempt to capture the homunculus, Maxie, who is involved in the plot to Um,
And
what's the best way to
technically
put this?
is also Solstice.
Mm,
And technically is also Solstice, even though they're like separate beings, but they're in the same body.
yeah. All right. So, let me see.
Let me see here. Chapter 4 is the next
Mhm.
one I've added some stuff to.
Yes. All right. Um, Solstice's possession of Maxie would be the first time that the PCs witness it in Chapter 4.
Yep.
The conflict in this chapter would be that the PCs would be struggling to understand what the mysterious illness is that's making Maxie sick. Since they don't really know what's going on, they end up not doing one of the important things needed to keep Maxie contained. This would result in Solstice getting out, and the PCs would have to fight him to keep him from killing others before they find out he could be won over with sweets and apples. And so that was something that we discussed over a DM just in between episodes. Is that
Yes.
yeah, that's just going to be one particular preoccupation that Solstice is going to have.
Yep, but this would technically be like, except like when the party first attacks it, it would be like the first time that Solstice actually sort of like interacts with the party, like even though he's still trying to kill them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Chapter 5, as we said, this was reconciling. The PCs must be in a situation where all is known by them, and they still have to deal with the fallout of all the conflict so far. You had written that the sheer scale of Equinox and indiscriminate destruction fueled by infinite magic creates a threat that cannot be ignored by all the sides. With this threat continuing to fight each other, will only kill them all if it isn't stopped. They need to put aside their differences and unite against Equinox, or everyone in the continent will perish. Equinox was the godlike counterbalance to Solstice.
Yep, Solstice's brother, which is also like the one Equinox is possessing is Magshar.
Mm-hmm. All right. This would alert all the known NPCs. Would be what would alert all of the known NPCs would be a massive roar that's loud enough to spread to the furthest ends of the continent upon possession. So,
yeah, most similar to King Ghidorah in Godzilla King of the Monsters, like what he does when he like awakens all the Titans.
mm-hmm.
It's something like that.
And so the next thing that I would ask is that, who Equinox might be possessing in this situation, but I also want to hold back.
Like I said,
because that actually.
Magshar.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, so we established that in the NPC section.
Yeah.
I was about to say I want to be careful because, that actually might be a spoiler, but it isn't because we already went through the preliminaries on this channel.
Yeah, we already went through that.
Alright.
And besides,
Okay.
it's not like we're playing it like right now, and plus this whole like Equinox thing would have to be a seriously like a end game of the entire campaign, which would be taking place like after quite a long while. So
Yeah, okay.
so yeah, not really much trouble with that.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back and start to flesh out this one section in the first chapter.
Chapter 1, yes.
Yeah, the PCs get involved with the conflict from refugees with the lengthy war that has happened so far. I'm just going to go ahead and elaborate, what we've already discussed, is that, okay, the PC, after intervening with the attack, with the monster attack on the tower, it's revealed that the NPCs, it's revealed that the PCs have, unwittingly, thwarted an attempt by the villagers to capture Maxie. Maxie is, I suppose, seems to say that they are Maxie is described as by the villagers as. Um, and so there's one of two things: is that we could say that um, the villagers
Well,
think
they
that he's
probably
a
only like. Oh, sorry.
so it could either be that he's a menace that is threatening the village, or that he is suspected and as part of the kidnapping of the prince.
I'd go with like they think that Maxie is like a monster because they don't really know the situation with Maxie and Solstice,
All right.
and
As a homunculus that was once loyal to the court of King Magishore.
no, it's Prince. No, it's
Oh,
King Bazion.
oh yeah, account of King Bazion. I think I have that misspelled. Um,
No,
once,
I think you have it right. Give me a sec.
but okay. Maxie is described by the villagers as a homunculus that was once loyal to the court of King Bazion, but
Oh
has
yeah, you got it right.
since gone rogue and is currently wanted by the king. That's a little bit redundant.
Yeah, a little bit redundant. I
Uh-huh.
was like,
Okay.
I think
Uh,
like maybe like the villagers that don't really like
from
know what's going on with Solstice. They would think like they would just think like he's just like Solstice, like this horrible little ravenous monster.
mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so the villagers that have encountered him so far.
I would say that the villagers have currently only like encountered like Solstice and not really Maxie.
Yeah. Describe him as a savage, snarling, um, chaotic. Well, maybe something a little bit more of an adjective to chaotic. Unpredictable. Monster of a man dressed as a court jester. Any other details that I need to be putting in here?
Mainly that any actual sightings of Maxie is actually Solstice, and like the only time that they probably would have been seeing him is like if he was like attacking pretty much anything living,
Well,
which would be he's probably be like the culprit between the in like sort of things like sorts of murders in the town,
yeah.
mass killings of livestock, sorts of things like that.
hmm And has caused the death of livestock and the injury of any humans. Well, any one
Any
who
humans
has,
been left alive
who has encountered him so far.
and has lived.
hmm Okay, and the death and injury. So I'm just I'm double checking this to make sure we don't have a run on. The villagers that have encountered Maxie so far describe him as a savage, snarling, unpredictable monster of man, dressed as a court jester. Um, I'm going to go ahead and just create the new sentence here. He has caused the death of livestock and the death of injury of anybody who's encountered him so far.
Yeah, we should probably leave like injury. Yeah, because like
Yeah.
Like we know what happened to Moonstone after like the first Solstice attack, and it was pretty much just a bunch of pulled pork.
Yeah. All right. So, what we should follow up
But
with is
oh wait a minute. I have an idea. Like the
mhm.
death of the knives. Like 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 creature and the like
All right. That's good.
creatures and yeah. There we go.
Hmm. All right. So probably the next sentence should be something about how we want the PCs to follow up with a possibility of running into Maxi himself. I mean,
Well, the fact that Maxie is like in a different form, like when he's not Solstice, like he pretty much looks like this weird, cute little monster kid, and so they'd probably be confused.
yeah. Well, what I was actually getting at is okay. So to put it all just in one question, okay,
Oh yeah,
what do the villagers want the PCs to do about this?
they want to get rid of the monster.
Hmm. But get rid of them how? Do they want to chase them up? Do they want to have them arrested and sent back to the court? Or
I mean, at the desperate of this of like the mass of death, like they probably want it dead.
okay, so villagers are asking for um. Well, maybe it'd be better to say put it this way: the villagers want Maxi returned to the court, dead or alive, and would want the PCs to be the ones to um, handle this as they had defeated the monster in the tower. All right.
Hmm. Well, there's like another like thing about the solstice that we discussed. I could also make this more interesting. Like,
Mm-hmm.
only Maxie can like really see him and comprehend him like when and he's not possessing him.
Yeah.
And so like he'd probably be like with a straight face, like be pointing like at nothing and saying like he's right there.
Mm-hmm. And that is something that we could be adding in, but we probably shouldn't be adding it in here. What we should be
Yeah, probably
doing
not.
instead is that we should be adding it, just before the beginning of chapter 4, because, like I said, that's the full exposure chapter. That is the one where we, just give away the full nature of what Maxie and Solstice's relationship is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
makes sense.
All right. So, beginning in chapter 2, this was one of my initial questions that when we first wrote this outline, is that how do we introduce the PCs to the other side of this conflict?
And
And
I wrote in like the other PC's backstories.
mhm, yeah, I mean, so you had wrote that because then you would then put in, some you would after that you would put in backstories of other PCs that are relevant to all of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let me um let me fix this by elaborating a little bit more about what is going on in chapter 1. So the villagers are given um free run of the town to prepare their manhunt. This is where they are introduced to several of the townsfolk, some of whom have witnessed Maxie's rampage.
Well, technically Solstice.
Yeah, but we don't. But the PCs don't know that yet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, through the town, and then here we can actually start to give, start listing out the names of those PCs, where they, what they are, what their jobs are in the town, and also, what they might have seen if the PCs were to encounter them.
Yeah.
So then we're going to just go through the format of name, occupation, and role in the story. And I don't know if this is a time that you would actually want to start developing, townsfolk NPCs. But we'll just put that there
Probably not
for the
right
time
now,
being.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could just have these here for now.
So this is actually what handles this chapter 2 note that you had written, because this is where we'd find out the other PC's backstories. So what we need to do is when we consider this question, how do we introduce the PCs to the other side of the conflict? What we still have left to describe is how do we get involved with the court of King Bozion. I'm saying it wrong again. Bozion. How do we get involved with the court of King Bozion? How do we start to see his side of things? And how do we get to see the potential of the conflict between him, his missing son, and Maxie?
Well, mainly this would mostly be pretty much a sort of context for why Maxie and Bozion have so much beef, have such a they really want to kill each other, or would be pretty much Maxie just talking shit about Bozion, and
Okay.
Typical kid stuff.
I think I have it. Same.
Oh yeah.
So. Okay. So after the villagers, after the PCs have gathered their supplies and rested for the night, they wake up to find a letter carrier, because we've already established this is all coming around as a result of letter carriers.
Yep. Even though slightly enhanced thanks to things like airships, it's still pretty primitive.
Okay, with a summons to the court of King Bozion. Okay.
Maybe, but this would probably be more sort of slightly introduced to Bozia, sort of with the party being something to meet with the the group of leaders around here, like I mentioned before, or with Bozion technically being part of this UN sort of thing.
And that can definitely be something that is brought up in the background.
Yep.
But just for the time being, let's just kind of try to stay on a linear path. Is that?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
All right. Anyway.
So
continue.
yeah, what happens after this? And it also has something to do with this next question that we posed: is that How do we meet people on multiple sides of battle, and how are they planning on influencing the PCs to see things their way?
Hmm.
I mean, so
Mostly,
to get absolutely specific, what happens once they get there?
probably, yeah, brought in by envoys. So, like, who probably represent, sort of ambassadors that kind of represent, like, each of the kingdoms.
Hmm. All right. They are taken to the court where they meet with different ambassadors of multiple kingdoms.
Ooh, just
It's
had an idea. What are these? I just had an idea. Like,
yeah,
what are these ambassadors that like that could be the uh, the executioner, aka Bagshar?
yeah. All right. Um, let's see. How do we handle this?
It's like nobody really knows like
Yeah.
that this is Magshar. So like not even like Maxie knows.
All right. And so this is where we would be introduced to the NPC Magashar, and then I've just put a note at the bottom of
Well,
this paragraph for
technically,
that.
the executioner, or like they're going by executioner.
Hmm. And well, like I said, um, this is where we would, yeah. Okay.
Well, we'll just
Yeah.
do that.
Okay. So, and this is where you can just start writing a character description. More than likely, something that would either be put in a box and read to the PC, or something that would be um, just completely written out, including stat blocks, etc., for the NPC to roleplay the character.
Yeah, I'll get to work on like sorts of things like sheets and the
Mhm.
actual bills
Yeah.
like actual for in a while.
Yeah. All right. So maybe for the time being, what you can do is you can just provide a description of what he has to do with this conflict.
Well, thankfully I like put some of that information in in Magshor's information in his NPC category.
All right. So it becomes obvious to the PCs that the um, and correct me if this is wrong, but Halcavalon is one of several surrounding kingdoms that are in a pact with each other to preserve peace.
Yep, but that is essentially it.
Yeah.
Even though they're all at war at the moment.
Yeah. Well, many of whom are displeased with King Bazion for the for losing control of the homunculus who was supposed to be caretaker of Prince. What was his name again?
His name is Magshar.
Yeah, Prince Magashar.
No, Magshar doesn't have an A in his name. It's just Magshar.
Okay. And are we assumed that as a prince that he is currently considered to be missing, or is that?
Yeah, since nobody knows like what he's actually do, and that like executioner or is in fact a magistrar, but like pretty much under or like King Vazion's control. Like he has everyone. I think he's missing while also like covering that up by making Maxi seem like the bad guy in this
Hmm.
situation, like the homunculus.
Yes. All right.
In reality, though, like Max Shaw, like it gave Maxie the opportunity to escape, even though it meant him like staying behind.
Mm. So, okay, so then that's worth noting, but that's worth noting in this as a means to answer this additional question. Okay. After becoming acquainted with um, Executioner, it's possible for the PCs to learn that he is really the disguised.
No, 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 no.
Oh,
That wouldn't be right. I like
oh,
that would only be like a revelation way later on.
all right. Okay. So the PCs learn that he might know the whereabouts of the missing prince. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, that sounds like a better like things like sort of like leading them on like
Mhm.
a wild goose chase.
Well, because here what we're doing is we're breaking off into where we are hoping, that we can have the possibility of multiple paths. Is that here the
Yeah.
player characters are going to have an opportunity to either work directly for King Bazian, or they follow this alternate path which would be this other clandestine individual telling him that there is another way in order to solve this.
Well, I'm mainly thinking that like, well, Executioner is like completely under Bazion's control, so he's practically using him like a pup. So like Bazion's using him like a puppet. So like pretty much like it's kind of like that sort of situation.
Hmm. Okay, so how do you want to express that in a sentence?
I think that like Executioner might like try some sort of things like manipulation
Hmm.
and and such like that, especially like like if they if later they learn about like Maxi's condition.
Hmm. All right. So he would like to get involved with the hunt, but has but due to his loyalty to the king, he's been instructed to stay at the court and keep his ear to the ground.
And also, he's pretty much serving as like Bazion's like main general to all his forces,
I'm sorry.
which means that and that he's also like Bazion's like main general, like the one in charge of like leading all his troops.
Mm.
So he would
Yeah,
also like be getting into conflict more often than not.
yeah. Okay. And command the search parties. Um, so we're what we're trying to answer at this point is, how does he want the PCs to intervene in this situation?
Hmm. Well, if he does he could like make them kind of go get after the other kingdom, since like they are all at war,
Hmm.
or and so like if it would benefit Vazion on if the party was to mess with a certain place, the better it is for him.
Hmm.
Like sort of like spreading doubt.
Yeah. But yeah, that obviously would be his agenda, but we still need to be more specific in this situation.
And like I said, like a Max Shore's capture parties would repeatedly fail, because of the party, which would eventually lead to Executioner getting involved himself.
Okay, well, here's another way to look at it. How does Executioner um, um, want to use the NPCs? Um, is that was saying that he has an agenda, is that he might want to use this as an opportunity in order to, in the background, break up this alliance with the kingdoms. You know, how would he get the
Pretty much
NPCs
by
to do that?
pretty much by have having them be like his pawns in one way or another,
Mhm.
or whether by promising some sort of thing, or even with things like under threat.
Mhm.
Eh, man, I'm really sorry. I don't know about this sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, you don't have to worry about like not knowing about it, but is that you just kind of have to think about what is happening in the moment. Is that the PCs have met Executioner. He is an important part of this, but he's currently in disguise, and we do not know um, the nature of his disguise just yet. And he has the agenda of manipulating the PCs so that they might do something that will sway the war in one direction or another.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Executioner would be tormenting Maxie the most with this sort of stuff, because he does understand and that he wouldn't really be easy to manipulate, since he's pretty much aware of everything that's been going on over there. Or
Hmm. Okay, well, like here's one just for an example. He is
okay,
willing to divulge some information about Maxi to the PCs in exchange for um, um, if they would um, say at, use the search, well, would use the hunt as a to find and execute a potential spy from the neighboring kingdom, or at least somebody
oh yeah, that could work.
um, execute a soldier from the neighboring kingdom that he suspects to be a spy. And then we would eventually block that out as, specifically what would happen if the PCs would actually agree to doing that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hmm. And so this is where, we're beginning to just kind of unravel what the multiple potential threats might be. And that's what this other question here is about. Okay, so what choices do the PCs have if they decide to work with the village? Well, we call them the villagers and the separatists at the point. With let's get a bit more specific here. Um, if they work directly um, uh, with, well, if they decide to work, try to follow the king's criteria, or um, agree to uh, kill executioner's suspected spy. And how does that rearrange the conflict that will happen in this chapter? And so we don't have to come up with
what
all
would
of
be
these.
like the king's criteria again?
The king's criteria would, simply be to um, go out into the open field, find Maxi, and bring him back dead or alive.
It could be like the point of like there could also be a choice of like not agreeing to this, because at this point like established they would have like made an ally with Maxi.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, is that the difference would be making a agreement with King Bazion and simply following the directive of capturing Maxi, or to actually get involved in the just the dirty work that the general is trying to put directly in front of them.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, this is going to result in a lot of potential changes to the position that the PCs are going to be in by the end of Chapter 2. So it all doesn't have to happen at once, but there are just things that we're going to need to consider in this situation.
All right, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they do agree to kill this suspected spy, this could lead to them getting more sour or interactions for whatever kingdom that sort of spy was working for.
Mm-hmm. And so another wrinkle about this is that we understand that, well, just in the meta text, we understand that Executioner is actually Magishar. So why would he do that? Why would he want to have this person killed and then put them immediately at odds with the king?
Wait a minute, Executioner is basically being puppeted around by Bazion. Bazion wants this to happen, so this wouldn't really be going against the criteria.
Okay, so yeah, maybe I've gotten that part wrong.
Yeah.
So what you're suggesting to me right now is that so the PCs, they have an opportunity to do this straightforward and just follow what the villagers would want and capture the wanted man. But we know that secretly and under the table, he would also want certain people from neighboring kingdoms to be executed as a result of the conflict that they're currently in.
Yeah.
So, like I said, this is this is something that is going to have to be settled.
Maybe the choices would increase with other ambassadors for the other kingdoms that are brought into this, with PCs, which kind of quest do you want to do, sort of situation.
And so this is kind of what engenders the conflict that people usually have when they're writing a game book. because there is a possibility that player characters could be following the criteria of one NPC or another. There's even the possibility that they could be following neither, and they could be looking for something that would fit in more with the alignment of what their character would do according to their character sheet.
Yeah.
hmm
So is my idea a good idea?
It is. Is that is that I'm just saying is that everything that we ask is going to result in um, attempting to come up with the dialogue of what would happen if they made specific kinds of choices, and this is a significant one because we're asking PCs to do something that is going to give them an immediate conflict with their own character's design. And we're asking them to kill a person. Sometimes a character will be extremely good aligned and they don't want to be responsible for killing a person. At which they would probably just do the task in a straightforward manner.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There are other ones that are just soldiers of fortune and say, okay, I'll do that, but it's not for information. I want you to name a price.
Yeah, I guess like an example of this would be like Maxi's case, which would probably be like immediate refusal because like just because of the sheer spite and hatred he has for Bosnia on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And in reality, he doesn't really want to side with anyone, especially not them, because he just he wants Magshar back.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so am I wrong in saying this? The executioner is Magashar.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying, yeah.
Maxi doesn't know this. He pretty much thinks that Magshar is locked up somewhere, somewhere in Bazian's castle.
So
yeah,
what?
He doesn't know.
So what would motivate Magashar to start to break up this alliance?
What?
Because we're saying that Executioner wants somebody dead.
Oh, wait a minute. I can see Executioner probably manipulating Maxi to think this spy would be one of the things that was responsible for Magshar's disappearance.
Hmm. Okay, so then he's doing it in order to create a plausible alibi for himself.
Yeah, exactly. He will, with Bazian's concern, is he doesn't want to he's already he's not really seen as a good thing around on this council, with the leader.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it so if he has someone else do the dirty work for him, and then he'll be able to still do as he wants, so well his spies are being sneaky, and he'll have reasonable alibis.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what if this person that he actually wants dead has recently found out that he's Magashar? You think you would want him dead for that reason?
Yeah, that could be a reason why
Okay.
why why he wants them dead.
Okay, so I'll put this in the conflict section. Mm-hmm. Upon finding the individual, upon finding the NPC who Executioner has
Wants dead?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We reveal that he is, blank of the kingdom of blank, and a direct ambassador. A direct ambassador, 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 a to the court of um
Probably another
yeah,
blank since.
well, to the court of Halcavalon, because this is something else I'm going to have to specify from this point forward. The singular kingdom that is led by King Bazion is Halcavalon.
Oh yeah.
I just want to make sure that that's clear from this point forward.
Okay, yeah, good.
Okay. All right. So, um, so, so once again, blank has, because we're just creating another NPC at this point, but we don't have to do that right away. So that's why I'm putting the blanks in.
Yeah, and then again, like they might get like quickly killed off, like before he reveals anything.
Well,
But then again, that depends.
in the intervening time, though, if you just want to come up with a name and then put it in those blanks, then we can just go ahead and do that. Okay. Has stumbled upon a secret about Executioner. That he did not want to divulge, and that is the reason the PCs were sent to kill him. Suddenly, as he reveals this, he is immediately attacked by an assassin.
Oh, I have an idea.
Yeah.
Or he could be like attacked and devoured by like one of Executioner's Star Sparrows.
Okay. So he is immediately attacked by one of Executioner's Star Sparrows.
Yeah, again, alibi.
PCs have the option of intervening and killing the Star Sparrow before the
NPC?
He kills the NPC. Before he kills blank. If they succeed,
Hold on.
Then blank can reveal to them that he knows Executioner is Prince Magashore in disguise. I did it again. In disguise. But once again, this is very open-ended. If they decide not to, then this information is just lost to them.
Yeah, which is what I would prefer. Like, I would like it to be like some kind of like, sort of like a more or less later story thing, and not something that we will learn like right away.
So you just want this individual just to be killed off either way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to save that information for later.
Yeah. However, even in the event that the PCs win against the Star Sparrow, blank becomes injured enough to inevitably die on the spot.
Yeah, either that or he's or they're like quickly devoured the second the Star Sparrow gets its jaws on it
Hmm.
on him.
Okay, so do you just prefer the line to be like that, or do you want to?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Like,
Okay, is immediately um, attacked and devoured. All right.
I would also like change like the option to well, like the PCs would probably have to fight the Star Sparrow because like
Uh-huh.
it would probably still want to snack on their or mana,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
especially Maxi.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. The PCs will need to do battle with the Star Sparrow to save their own lives. Once they succeed, and then this is where you would give like treasure, a potential reward, or and also something else that shows what this individual contributed to the
I
story.
do have an idea for that. Like even though like the NPC wasn't able to say it outright, like there is some like parts of like his notes that weren't completely destroyed, right, in the Star Sparrow attack, like which would like have some a few quotes about like this pretty much this magical item that um Bazion is using to control Magshar, the Master Crown.
Okay, about an artifact known as the Master Crown.
Yep, that is correct.
All right. And so over time, that we'll just kind of like iron out, a bit more specifically about what he had on his person.
Yep, it won't be giving like the ultimate truth outright, but it's just a hint of what's going on.
Mhm. Well, I mean, the Master Crown, is also just kind of something that is just central to the entirety of the conflict that is going on at the moment. I mean,
Yeah,
you
pretty
would say
much. Like even
that's
at the end, like
you had
I was saying,
previously.
like
I'm sorry about that.
it's okay. Hey, like yeah, I was saying like Equinox is able to like get way too out of hand because like he was leeching off the Master Crown,
Hmm.
um, which like with all the pent up unability to like do a solstice that as a Maxi to Magshar, or like then the whole sort of Shin Godzilla kind of thing would happen.
Hmm. And so I was going to make the suggestion that obviously the Master Crown is something that, like the Iron Throne or the One Ring, it's really just something that everybody in this massive conflict wants to possess because they understand that it contains great power.
Yep, essentially.
Hmm.
Except like with the entire conflict of like Equinox, that it will pretty much eventually have to like be completely destroyed.
Yeah, which was also the conflict with the One Ring, but.
Yep, exactly. Like
Hmm.
the One Ring, but like except with that, there probably have we'd probably have to fight like you know
Hmm.
probably something that is like incredibly titanic, probably even the same size as Shin Godzilla, like pretty
Yeah.
much that massive.
Hmm. And so eventually, these are all just kind of beats that are going to drop once we have the final conflict. We are um, doing battle with a very large, almost godlike entity, which is something that just kind of happens quite frequently when it comes to the um, closing battle of most game books.
In fact, most games as a whole, well, like most RPGs and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Eventually, you're gonna have to fight like some kind of massive godlike entity.
Hmm. The
Like if I had a nickel for every time like I fought one of those, um, hmm,
artifact
I'll probably be able to get like a pack of Gatorade. Not sponsored, by the way.
is, yeah. So it's apparent that this artifact is sought after by both kingdoms.
By all the kingdoms?
Uh-huh. By every kingdom in this union, as it is fabled to be the one object. To be the object that will I mean, so unite all kingdoms as one, um restore the balance of power amongst all kingdoms, something like that. And so that is a little bit of
Oh, I
foreshadowing
have
in
an idea.
regards to the balance between equinox and solstice.
Yeah, and solstice.
Hmm.
Yeah, it could be like something in there mentioned about like bringing order to like also a little like bit of a reference to like you know equinox.
Hmm.
Like pretty much like oh the pretty much the world will be brought to order or by whoever wears the crown.
Hmm. And so they see it as an attempt in order to make it the ultimate power grab, but it means a lot more because of the nature of the way that the deities are.
Yep.
Hmm. All right.
and uh, and that nobody really knows that Bazion really has it. It is using it with Magshar, which is, and
Hmm.
he doesn't know that he's making the situation for everyone like 10 times worse.
Hmm. So at this point, if they have the notes, they have the opportunity in order to tell the king. They have the opportunity in order to tell executioner.
Yep.
Mm. And so you got to think about like what either NPC's reaction would be in that situation, or they could
Yeah,
end
that's
up
true.
keeping it to themselves.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh huh.
They could tell someone about it. They could keep it to themselves.
Uh huh. So notes. They have the opportunity to present them to either the king or executioner. I mean, so if they do,
Or the other kingdoms that
and so
was like rulers and ambassadors.
this is we're creating another part of the outline where we figure out what either of their reactions would be.
Hmm.
Obviously, executioner would commend them for a job well done. He was looking specifically for these notes, so he could learn the route to find the master crown.
I mean, technically, he's already wearing it, so he would probably like frame this as like a prevent. He would prefer
Hmm.
like keep this like information out of the wrong hands, even though like
Yeah,
he's the one using it.
yeah, but that's also precisely the point. Is that that's where we're adding the red herring. Is that we suspect that executioner is after the master crown, but he's actually has it and he's in the process of using it.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
I mean, so that's really just something that isn't going to be a revelation until much later in the story.
Yep, much later in the story.
And so then the next thing he would say is that he would say something that would mislead the PCs to the whereabouts of Maxi or um the
I
whereabouts
think
of the
it's
prince.
Magpar
Hmm?
because like Maxie is with the party right now, so
Mhm. So would you send them to Maxi in that situation, or would you try to mislead them?
I would say like try to mislead them
Okay, so how
because they
specifically would
know
you do
they
that?
can't let because like both Abazion and Execution know that they can't like let anyone know that they've like made a like that they've like had Maxi to try to like make him into some like kind of a god tier level weapon
Hmm.
and since like the other union is already pretty upset at him for losing control of this homunculus in the first place.
Okay, so yeah, so if we say that he's going to mislead him, what specifically is he going to say?
Hmm. Probably. Hmm. Let me see. Probably you send them to somewhere where he would be planning an ambush to try and catch Maxie.
Hmm. All right. He lets them know about a secret hideaway where Maxie and Prince Magashar,
There's no A in it. There's no
yeah,
second A.
would normally meet up. And he would want the PCs to go there in order to set up that ambush.
Yep, set up a capture attempt.
Hmm. And so we can consider what King Bazian would do if he had the notes, or well,
Hmm.
we can just move on from this place.
We can work on what King Bazian would do as well.
Hmm.
Why not?
Yeah.
Now let me see.
I mean,
Bazian will also probably be pleased about this spy being killed.
mhm,
Old Old says he has a good alibi. Hey, to not give away that he's doing shady stuff.
mhm.
But what else would he do then? Hmm.
Um, and then giving him this lead to where to the um hiding place of the Master Crown.
This would also
If
set up for an ambush.
so, if they were told, if the PCs tell the king that Executioner would was the one who sent them on this, um, he'd have him arrested and sent to the dungeon.
Yeah, maybe.
Mhm. He'd have him sent to the dungeon for withholding information from him. So the PCs would be given would be given a sum of gold as a reward, and then be asked to return to the manhunt for Maxi.
Yeah, that could work.
Mm-hmm. All right. So yeah, that's a good way in order to work out the thread because we are taking them in the direction where they would eventually find Maxi, which would probably more than likely be what begins chapter 3. You know, but we'll get that from either NPC.
All right, I thought the first chapter was like explaining like how like the PCs would get together, including Maxi. That's so I was a little confused.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me see. Where are we now? Yeah, let's just go over the whole thread really quickly to make sure that we are still following everything. So you're saying that the monster in the tower was Maxi, and then they were found and they were captured at that point?
No, I'm saying that it was Solstice that was wreaking havoc in the tower, but he's found as the Maxi, not Solstice.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we just kind of glossed over that whole part. I thought the monster and Maxi were completely separate characters.
They are completely separate.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But they're like in the same body.
Mm-hmm. That'll be Maxi, who they emerged from a hammock that they made with ribbons in the roof of the clock tower. Healer will thank the players and invite them to the center of Harmony at town for the refugees reward, where a healer stays to heal the sick and injured. Okay. Okay, so what did we miss right? Okay, so after returning to the village, which means that after Maxi has left the situation.
Yeah, this would pretty much mean that the situation with the village would technically be fixed since they want the monster gone, and they technically out there. They're bringing it with them.
Okay, so this still works, but this still works for a very simple reason. Is that at this point, Maxi told him to go to the village, after which he would go somewhere else. Then it would be revealed to him that he's wanted.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, that's a choice. Would you want it to go that way, or do we still need to rewrite it?
I think we'll have to rewrite because like Maxi probably already knows he's wanted because he did get away and he's aware of everything.
Well, that's the thing is that as far as the outsiders, which are the PCs, are involved, he just did a bit of misdirection. Is that he said, okay, I'll go ahead and I will leave you at the doorstep of the village, but then afterwards he's going to hightail it because that would be the reason that he would be wanted. So what I'm doing is I'm giving the ability to. This would be the first time that Maxi actually plays a trick on the player characters.
But I was planning on like this being all the PCs very much meeting up and becoming his team.
At the tower?
Yeah.
So
because they don't know that Maxi is an alternate form of Solstice. They only saw Solstice in the tower, so with Maxi they just see this this weird monster kid.
All right.
Just as a jester.
Oh, okay. I see what we're saying. So what we would have to do in this situation is that we would have to okay, let's remove dress as a court jester. Capture Solstice. So Solstice is just an alternate identity here.
Yeah. Which is pretty much also like a separate entity.
All right. Okay, so I understand that now. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much like an Eddie Brock and Venom sort of situation here.
All right. Okay, so they don't know that Solstice was supposed to be the caretaker.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Or okay. Many of whom are displeased with King Buzzion for Solstice's rampage and the disappearance of his heir, Prince Magishar. All right. I go there to find.
Poe would probably also add only to ambush them and as an attempt to capture Maxie.
But that's the thing. That's a story beat for the third chapter.
Oh, okay.
Is that
Yeah.
so? Basically, what we're doing is we're enacting one change as a result of which NPC that they might have spoken to.
Oh, okay.
So if they had followed Executioner here, then Executioner would know that they went there, and then he would attempt to ambush them. But if they went to the king, or if they kept it to themselves, then they would be. Then they might happen upon this, and actually find out about the truth about Maxie and Solstice on their own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, it's just these little differences in the way that the story path is conducted will lead to different outcomes for the player characters. This is all to say that as soon as they eventually do meet Maxie and Solstice,
Yeah, this sort of thing would also be in the bit more explored in the chapter 4, or with getting into a more of an understanding of Solstice.
Well, I mean, so we kind of find that out after the majority of the conflict happens. So there needs to be a time in chapter 3 where they actually do, where we actually do have the reveal specifically between Maxie and Solstice. And then afterwards, then they can go into the background of this and find out about the lore and find out about how the possibility that Solstice is a demigod.
Yeah, and plus Solstice can give information, since he can talk, but again, he's a demigod of chaos, pretty much this universe's Prince of Lies. So, and he has his own sort of little agenda. So, again, they'd have to be careful.
So that is to say, is that once we get into this really central climactic core of the story, which is confronting Maxie, then it sets off just the possibility of turning the rest of the story into a cohesive whole.
All right.
All right. So and so we are kind of just going by the way that we had previously outlined the chapter. We are changing a few things here and there. We are moving aside. Where we believe that certain story beats could potentially be, but that's perfectly okay. If it makes more sense this way, then we should write it in a way that follows the narrative better. And so that was mostly made up the notes that, we wrote for chapter 3. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to replace this first question because it's slightly different now. And so in writing the description for chapter 3, what I would say is that, the PCs find the find the secret hiding place. But we can give it a bit more of a description now. Prince Magashar and Maxi. And then so
Magshar.
And so I don't know if you want to write this yet, but description
Hold on.
of the
Just
area.
a sec. Yeah, there's an A in front of the U.
Oh.
Alright, yeah, I'll work on like the description like later on.
Mm-hmm. So if they made it here on King Bozion's orders.
No, it would be executioners.
Well, I'm just writing the difference between the two.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They would find themselves unharmed if they instead came here on executioner's orders. They'd face an ambush by several of the king's soldiers.
Yep.
The soldiers were sent here on orders from executioner to capture, to kill the PCs. And then he's got to have a false reason.
Well, they would still like be trying to like catch Maxi too. So
okay, well, to kill the PCs for the suspected kidnapping of Prince. So he'd simply say that okay, they're the ones who kidnapped the prince, so the king has sent them to be killed on the spot.
all right, yeah, that'll work.
Mm-hmm. And so then the second major story B here would be where we have Maxi's reveal. And so at this point we can just simply write at the end of the
Conflict.
well, depending on whether or not we have a conflict. Eventually, and so yeah, eventually we'll have to work on, specifically how Maxi comes into this, but I'll say eventually Maxi is indeed found in this meeting place.
Brady, again, like Maxi is already with the party. These guys would be here to capture Maxi. So saying that
Yeah.
Maxie is fat on here doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I see. All right. Okay. Okay. So Maxie enters in the midst of the conflict, and then he reveals himself as Solstice, and so then
No, that would be way until. No, that would be until like way later, like you know, when Solstice himself actually starts to run amok. Here would be like Maxie is you know, like incredibly close with the Prince of Magshar,
mhm,
or pretty much like like I would plan in this story that he usually lashes out at anyone who actually like calls him he, because in his eyes like only Magshar is allowed to call him that.
mhm,
And also I'll delete this stuff down here.
yeah, mhm.
And yeah.
All right. So then so then what happens as soon as Maxie enters the conflict? Um, this is something I'm more than likely going to need you to write out because, um, as you just described it to me, I understand it as it's that he gets into a conflict with the PCs and potentially the soldiers that are there in the event that they are there. Um,
Yeah.
and so we need to flesh out, what the
Alright.
nature of
Give
his
me a
antagonism
second.
is. Yeah.
There's a place. The bad that he is a maggosh. There's a hold on. And a brother.
Hmm.
Alright, there we go. Oh,
All right. So, so the details of which include that. So, as a homunculus, um, Maxie only found any form of friendship. Well, okay. Um, as a okay, so he reveals that he was the homunculus created specifically to be a companion to the prince.
well,
And
like it was sort of like accidentally happened that way because he pretty much got out by like killing his actual creator, or, and then like
yeah,
ended up like running into like Magshar through like chance.
and considers himself a they to anyone except the prince, um, who he considered who they consider to be his to who they consider to be his brother. in the event that the King's Guards are present, they can relay to the party that this crosses several boundaries in homunculus relations. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that can make sense.
Mm.
If any of them are still up and about, like during this whole conflict.
So, So this once again, this creates another split possibility. Is that if the guard isn't around, then obviously the next step is the PCs would have to go with Maxi. But in the event that they are around, they might try to arrest him, and then that creates the completely different conflict. So I'm going to start to split this into a slightly different thread. And the PCs may or may not intervene in trying to save him. If not, and so, okay, so what I'm struggling with here is that, if the PCs were to be left alone with Maxi, what would Maxi want them to do?
Well, he'd want to like ask them for help, like in his eyes, to get his brother back.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And overall, this is pretty much an actual like somber moment for him.
Yeah. Okay. So if not, or in the event that Maxi is rescued from the guards, he will ask the PCs to help him go in search of the missing prince. And so at some point, we're going to have to create something in the way of Maxi has some lead to where the prince actually may be.
Mm-hmm.
And so whether or not, he actually knows that the prince is actually executioner, it doesn't enter into it, because for all, we know he could just be leading him right back to the executioner, who then reveals. And so, yeah, this is intrigue writing at its most agile at this point.
Is that a good thing?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So, because, Maxi could do one of two things here. Okay, he could simply lead him back and reveal that he's also in with the plot along with the executioner. Or he could not be. He's completely unaware of it. Or it could actually be that since he has a split personality with Solstice, maybe one of them knows and one of them doesn't. That's another thing that we could do.
I'm gonna go with Maxi is not working with the executioner, and he does not know that the executioner is Magshar.
All right. Okay. Well, do you want to say that if that's the case, then is Solstice?
I feel like Solstice might actually, but he's keeping it secret
Hmm.
for like twisted entertainment purposes.
Yeah, is that Solstice is effectively intervening in all of this for the Schadenfreude, is being the
For
fairy
what?
who says what fools these mortals be. Schadenfreude, that's a German word that means laughter at other people's expense.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so when somebody has a motivation to have Schadenfreude, that means that they're being the person who is setting people up for failure so that they would enjoy it.
Yeah, this is why a reason why he's always like trying to mentally manipulate Maxie. He's so like he can have more rampages.
Hmm. And yeah, so we're getting a little pretty close to the end of our time here, so I think this would probably be a good time to sign off. We've made a lot of really good considerations here, and we've gotten
Yeah.
towards through most of the action that we were planning on outlining for chapters 1 through 3.
Yep.
Hmm. And so I'll be talking to you maybe about this a little bit later in the week. We can make a decision to do a part 3 to this, or we could also just leave it in the background and then just finish it up so that there will be a sufficient amount of stuff still kept reasonably secret for the people who eventually are going to see this module. That'll be up to you.
Yeah, I'll
Uh-huh.
consider the choices.
Yeah.
And just still keep up the great work.
Absolutely. So yeah, well, I can only take a little bit of credit here. I think, for the most part, that you've really been the creative driving force behind all of this.
Yeah, I
And
think
so
so.
and this has been really, and this has been, really, really intriguing story so far. So, you know,
Oh, thanks, Rainy.
absolutely. And so, yeah, we're going to continue to work on this story. We'll keep you posted about where it might materialize next, on any brainy content, or, if we actually might be able to flesh this out and have it released to a PDF download platform near you. But in the meantime, thank you very much once again for tuning in to Brainy the RPG Cat. For those of you who are watching on Twitch, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a raid now. Let's see, who would we like to pay a visit to? I know that our mutual friend Marin Mermaid was on a little bit earlier, but I don't know if they're... Oh, actually, they still are. So let's go ahead and let's throw over to Marin Mermaid. They were very nice to raid me. Not more than a few days
Yeah.
ago when I was in the middle of playing Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. So we're gonna go ahead. We're going to say hi to Marin. Thank you, absolutely everyone, for tuning in. Remember that BRANY means smart. Nothing's too hard if you use your head. Always be the change that you want to see in the world. Have a good night, everybody, and thank you very much for watching.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.